What if I told you that in the middle of Kampala, there's a place where kings are not just remembered, they are still present? Welcome to the Kasubi Tombs, one of the most sacred places in Uganda. This is not just a historical site, it is the final resting place of the four powerful kings of Buganda. But more importantly, it is a living spiritual space for the Buganda people. The Kabakas are not simply gone. Their presence is still honored, still respected, and still felt. Inside this sacred place lie the last four kings of Buganda Kingdom. Welcome to Uganda Adventures with Natkunda. I am currently at the Kasubi Tombs, the royal burial grounds for the kings of Buganda, and also globally recognized as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. And in this video, we're going to explore the history of the Buganda kings. We're going to understand the meaning of the Kasubi Tombs, and then we're also going to adventure and explore more of the traditions that are here up to date. So join me as we step into the Kasubi Tombs. For those that are coming to visit Kasubi Tombs for the first time, you need to know that you have to find a guide, and here we are with Joel again. I'm sure you've seen him in the last video, but then he's our guide today. So Joel, you're welcome to Uganda Adventures with Natkunda, and we're glad to be here.
Okay, thank you. So again, you're welcome to Kasubi Tombs. My name again is Joel Baligayankon. I have so many names, but I normally call myself Joel. Yeah, and I'm very glad to be your tour guide again here at Kasubi Tombs. So Kasubi Tombs is the official burial site for the last four kings of Buganda and also other members of the royal family. And actually, this Kasubi Tombs is the only cultural site here in Uganda which is under UNESCO.
Yes.
So here in Uganda, we have 3 UNESCO sites.
Okay.
Among them include Bwindi Impenetrable National Park, where we have the gorillas. Actually, 50% of the world's mountain gorillas, we have them in Bwindi. We also have Mountain Renzori National Park, but again, Kasubi Royal Tombs. But what makes Kasubi Royal Tombs special is the only cultural site which is under UNESCO. The other 2 areas, they are natural areas. So this place was inscribed on the list of the World Heritage Sites in 2001. Reason being that the place exhibits a living heritage, which is characterized by the heritage royal guards. We have the active royal drums. We have the active fireplace. We have the symbolic king's wives, and also the main tomb house, which is the biggest brass thatched hut in the whole world. So during the tour here, we shall be able to embrace the living heritage which is exhibited by this place. Yeah. So at the moment, we are standing in the main gate.
This is the main gate.
Yeah, this is the main gate.
This is where everyone needs to pass through.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Actually, here in our culture, the practice was that wherever any prince ascends on the throne, he was supposed to establish his own palace. And where he establishes his palace tends to be the capital for our kingdom. So when that particular king dies, they bury him within his own palace, which transforms into the royal tombs. Yeah, which literally means that originally this place was a palace, and that was established in the years of 1882 by our king. By then, he was known as King Mutesa the First. Yeah, but before Mutesa coming here, he was living at Lubaga, where you have the Catholic Cathedral. Yeah, but around 1882, there was outbreak of smallpox around Lubaga Hill, which forced our king to transfer his capital from Lubaga, and he came here. Yes. So when he came here, he gave the other hill to the Catholic community. And now that's where we find the capital for the Catholics. Yeah, with their biggest church is known as St. Mary's Cathedral. Yes. So when he came here, this was the first house he established in this place. And the king. Yes.
This very one.
Yeah. It was the first house to be established in this place. And king used to stay here before the completion of the main palace. Yeah, so when the main palace was completed, of course, the king shifted the main palace, and then he left this one to his royal guards. So currently, this house is acting as the main gate, at the same time, the quarter guard, being occupied by the two royal guards for the king. Yeah, so one of them is over there in Sigo. Yeah, he's from Buffalo clan, and he's in charge of the Inidos. Then we have the principal royal guard. He always sits on the other side. Yeah, it's called Mulamba from Mushroom clan, and he's in charge of the outdoors. So both of them are hereditary. What I mean, they're not original guards.
Also,
Yeah,
it's passed on
from father to son, father to son.
Yes.
So they're just descendants of the original guards.
It's a must. Every family.
Yeah, the position is hereditary.
It can't be from any other clan.
Yeah, from those particular clans. So when they passes on, they are maybe sons or grandsons, they'll be the one to take over the position.
That's true.
Yes.
I love the architecture of this place.
The house is decorated like a basket, which is turned upside down. Hope you know basket.
Yes.
And 99% of the materials are vegetal materials, like organic materials.
Yes.
Yeah, which literally means that they keep on rehabilitating the house by removing the old materials and replace them with the new ones. But in the apex here, we have these special four-rings, being some of the original components, the black ones.
Yes.
Those are original ever since the house was established in 1882.
They've not been changed.
Yes. So however much they change all the other materials, but these one are kept intact from 1882 up to date. And those rings were made and raised by the king himself. That was King Mutesa I.
Okay.
Yeah. So the first ring in the middle represents the king himself.
Himself.
Yeah.
The one who...
And it was actually measured on the size of the king's head.
Hey.
Yeah. So the second one represents the members of the royal family. The third one represents the clan leaders, and the fourth one represents the rest of the people in the kingdom.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, which literally means that the entire Buganda fraternity is represented here.
By the four rings.
Yes. So in case one of them suddenly falls down, the current king is the one in charge of putting them back. Yeah.
Yeah, because this is his palace.
Yeah. So that's why they're kept intact.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's true.
Yeah.
It's very symbolic. Huh?
Very.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I love that.
And also, this house is decorated with row entrances, if you try to see, whereby each and every individual who comes here must bow.
Oh, that's why.
Yes.
I was wondering.
Yeah.
I was wondering why. So you have to always...
You have to bow.
Yes.
So there's no way you can access the king's palace minus bowing.
It's a sacred place.
Yes.
Either
knowingly or
unknowingly.
Unknowingly.
They're trying to cater for those who don't.
For those one who are short, they can survive, but when you survive here, you may not survive another place. Yeah.
Okay.
At the end of the day, you find yourself bowing.
Yeah.
So it's a sign of paying respect to the king. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Then, is there anything else that the viewers need to know about this place when they come here? Because I'm sure everyone coming through here is going to be amazed and wowed by all this. Is there a certain way they need to handle themselves? For those who don't know, even some of us don't know. So,
and in most cases here, the things are usual. You come as you are. You know, our kings is very welcoming.
Yes.
So when you come, they will welcome you. If there's something which is not in right, they put it right.
Okay.
For example, here also, ladies who are putting on pants, they're not supposed to come in. But when you come without knowing, they always provide you with a kanga. A kanga is like a lace, like a piece of a cloth that you tie around your waist and you make a skirt.
Oh, you can come in this.
When you have this one, that is 100% perfect. But if you're putting on a pant, they of course provide you with a kanga. You tie it around your waist and you make a skirt so that you can look like a queen.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So you're going to proceed to the main tomb house. Right now we are sitting under the roof of the biggest grass thatched hut in the whole world. Yes. So the place was originally established as a palace in 1882. Then 1884, that's when the king died. Kabaka Mutesa I, the founder of this palace. And this is when this place became the royal tombs. Yes. So the house is fashioned like a basket, if you try to see, which is turned upside down. Yeah, with the rings. And the rings, they do represent the clans of our kingdom. You know, our kingdom is clan based, with over 56 clans, whereby each and every clan is represented by a symbol that we call a totem.
Okay.
Yeah, so some of these totems are wild animals, others domestic animals. We have insects, we have birds, we have food species and body parts. Hey, like Heart clan, yeah, Lion clan, Mushroom clan, Dog clan, something of that kind.
So it's everything. It depends on
Yes.
which clan exactly.
Actually, we identify ourselves by the surnames. Yeah, when I say my name is Joel, that only shows my faith. Maybe I'm an Anglican. But yeah, we have another name which gives me my identity. Yes, that's why here in our culture it is very crucial. When you reach that age of maybe looking for a partner, and maybe you have a crush on someone, if you happen to get a chance, you meet and you greet yourselves, you have to introduce yourselves thoroughly to each other. Like, hello, how are you? I'm good. What's your name? My name is Joel. And you? Maybe Jessica. That's not enough. You have to identify the other traditional name so that you can get to understand that maybe she's a member of Monkey clan and maybe I'm a member of Antelope clan. Then we are good to go. But when she speaks out the name which belongs to my clan, that's of course a red flag. Yeah, so it's nice to meet you. Next time better.
See you.
Yeah, see you. Actually,
They are your siblings.
Yeah. Actually, when it comes to that issue, you have to preserve two clans: your mother's clan and your father's clan. Provided your parents, like both of them, are Baganda. Yeah, for example, when your mother is coming from maybe Mushroom clan and your father maybe from Dogo clan, you the offsprings, you take the paternal side, which literally means that you also be Dogo clan. But when you're going to marry, you're not supposed to get a partner from the Dogo clan as well as the Mushroom. And again, when your clan symbol is edible, you cannot eat it.
Yes.
Yeah, so if you're a member of Dogo clan, in case it is edible.
No. The mushroom that I think is very difficult.
Okay.
Yes. How do you remember? So this is why we're learning these things that people don't start eating from
their clans. Yeah.
Yes.
So if you're a member of maybe Mushroom clan,
yes.
no
I'm sure
eating
there's some
mushrooms.
people out there who don't know that they're not supposed to. Maybe.
Yeah, they should learn them.
Yes.
They should get to know so that they don't get a bad omen.
Yes.
Because the moment you do such mistakes, you may face some challenges which cannot be even cured in the hospitals.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very spiritual.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll take it.
So these rings, they do represent those clans. And also these poles which are supporting the structure or the roof of the structure, they're also representatives for the clans of the kingdom again. Yes. But again, in the middle or in the apex of the house, we have got those special rings in the middle.
Oh, the other one.
Yeah. In the original house, we are put by the king himself, that was Kabaka Mutesa I. But since we had a tragedy in 2010, when the original house caught fire, so during the rebuild, those ones were put by our current king. And again, the first ring represents the king himself, the second one members of the royal family, and the third one represents the clan leaders. Then the rest represents the clans.
The 56 clans.
Yes, which literally means that we, the subjects of the kingdom, we are embedded within, or we are dissolved within these clans. Because each and every individual has got a clan in which he or she do belong. Yes. And actually this kind of a structure brings out the meaning of the name of our kingdom. You know, the kingdom is called Buganda. And Buganda literally mean a bundle of sticks, which is very hard to break. So if it's one stick, you can easily break it. But when you combine a number of sticks and you make a bundle, now it becomes very difficult to break.
You can't break it.
Yeah. And remember, each and every clan, or all of us, we are mandatory to protect the king. That's why the ring that represents the king is located in the center, being surrounded by other rings which are representing the clans. It literally means you need to first go through all these clans, and they believe that practically it is impossible. So the king is highly protected. Yeah. And actually the kingdom kept on expanding through assimilation policy. Yeah, whereby when you visit Buganda, maybe you a lady or a man, they welcome you warmly. They give you land. You grow crops. You build your house. If you're a man and you're not married, they give you a wife. You marry. Yeah, they give you a particular clan. You have children together. They name them the Uganda names. At the end of the day, they become Baganda. So they get assimilated into the culture. So that's how the kingdom kept on expanding. Okay. The spears and the shields are our regalias. Actually, the symbol for our kingdom is a shield. It's always having a shield with a pairs of spears, which shows protection and power. The shield to protect you and the spear to fight back. And there is always a lion lying below, which represents our king. Yeah, we consider our king to be a lion. When you go in the wild, the lion is always the king of the jungle. So the king's the king of the jungle. Yeah. So again, the house is divided into two with a very big curtain, which runs from the roof up to the floor. The curtain is made from the backcloth. Yeah, I believe you know the backcloth. Yeah. And behind the curtain, there's what we call a sacred imaginary forest. Yeah, whereby here in our culture, we have a belief that our kings, they don't die.
They disappear.
Yeah, they just disappear into the forest, depending on the history of the first king of our kingdom. Yeah, our first king was known as King Chintu. That's about 800 years ago. One time he went to the forest to do the hunting. He never came back. Now people thought maybe he disappeared into the forest. Then the second king, he was known as Kabaka Chwanabaka. He went to the forest to collect local medicine, like local herbs from the trees and other plants. Again, he never came back. Now people came to a conclusion.
That kings just
that maybe here when the kings are tired of the earthly life, they just go into the forest to do something. They don't show up again. Then they waited for the third king. And for him, he actually died. And people were able to witness a lifeless body of the king for the first time. So it was a shock among them. And it was very hard for them to get convinced that kings can actually die. That's why even up to date, it is kept a tradition and a practice that whenever king dies, we cannot say that our king has died, but we say our king has disappeared into the forest.
imaginary forest.
Yeah. So since this is the official burial site for the kings of Buganda, we also have that imaginary forest to bring out that view that these kings never died, but they disappeared into the forest. Yeah.
So it's just to show you, it's a symbol to show you that they actually went into
Yes.
the imaginary forest.
Yeah. But in front of the curtain, we have got these raised platforms, which are replicas, corresponding with the real tombs for the kings. That's why each and every replica is attached with a portrait of that particular king, such that we can do differentiate. So these portraits, they are corresponding directly to the tombs of the kings.
Okay.
Kabaka Mutesa I was the first king to be buried here. That was 1884. And then after he was succeeded by his son, that was Kabaka Daniel Mwanga. And remember, the practice was that wherever a prince ascends on the throne, he was supposed to establish his own palace. And where he establishes his palace turns to be the capital for our kingdom. And when that particular king dies, they bury him within his own palace. Then the question comes, why?
Why here?
Yeah, we have more than one king being buried under the same roof. So, when Daniel succeeded the throne, he chose Mengo Hill. Kampala is the name of our capital city, and it is known to be a city of 7 hills. So one of them is Mengo, and that's Mengo Hill, and that's where King Daniel chose to establish his palace by 1885. But unfortunately, the year our king ascended on the throne, 1884, it was the same year when King Leopold of Belgium called for the Berlin Conference, which caused the scramble and the partition of Africa. So at the end of that meeting, for us here, we ended up being a protectorate to the British. Because when the British came here, they found our kingdom, Buganda, when it was organized. So they said, there's no need of establishing a colony here. So let us just protect what they have. So they just incorporated their colonial policies within the structure of Buganda. And actually other regions of our country were led by Buganda as colonial agents on behalf of the British. But later, there was power struggles, as you know, the behaviors of the British and the behaviors of the colonialists in particular, whereby whereby the king tried to resist against their rule, and they ended up into a war which lasted for 2 weeks. And our king was defeated, and he was taken to exile in Seychelles Island, that is Indian Ocean, by 1897. So when he was in exile, there was a vacuum here, and they decided to crown his son. That was King Daudi Chua. So surprisingly, Daudi became a king when he was very young. He was only 1 year. Because he was born in 1896. Then 1897, after his father being taken to exile, he ascended on the throne. So being an infant, he couldn't make a decision, and he was crowned with 3 assistant chiefs who nurtured him until when he became mature. That is Sapolo Kagwa, Zakaria Chisingili, and Stanley Mugwanya. And remember, the practice was, if you become a king, you look for a new site and establish your own palace. So just imagine a boy king of 1 year. He couldn't establish his palace on spot by then. So he was automatically taken to his father's palace at Mengo.
Because also the father was still alive.
So later, unfortunately, our king Daniel, the father to Daudi, died in exile. That was around 1903. And his body was brought back here in 1910, which literally means that following the practices of our culture, King Daniel was supposed to be buried within his own palace at Mengo. But because his palace was already occupied by his son as a new boy king, they couldn't bury him there. That's why they decided to bring his body here. So when Daniel was buried here, then this place was officiated to be the burial site for the kings of Buganda. And the Mengo Palace became the official palace, which literally means that today, as Buganda Kingdom, we're having one official palace, which is Mengo Palace. However, the king has got so many other palaces. And also one official burial site being the Kasubi Tombs. So already Daudi was the king, and later when he also passed on, that was around 1939, at the beginning of World War II, he was also laid here. And lastly, we had King Edward Frederick Mutesa II to be the last king of Buganda to be buried here. He died in 1969. He died in exile in London, and his body was brought back here in 1971. So now, at the moment, he's the last king of Buganda to be buried here. So again, the sitting area of this place is divided into 2. Of lemongrass, whereby
This is lemongrass.
So when members of the royal family happen to come here, they can cross over and see the other side.
That's for the royal family. And then the side is for the side.
So the rest of the people, we the peasants, because if you're not a member of the royal family, of course you are a peasant. So for us, we cannot go beyond this point. We always sit this side.
So that's the division.
Yes.
Okay. The tomb's interior is not designed for display. It is designed for meaning. It represents the structure of the Buganda Kingdom itself, with order, respect, and connection. In Buganda culture, drums are a powerful form of communication. Long before modern technology, they were used to send messages across the kingdom, announcing ceremonies, marking important events, and signaling moments of life and death. Their presence in the tombs is not accidental. It reflects continuity, a reminder that the kings are still honored, still remembered, and still part of the kingdom's story. The calabashes are the traditional gourds, historically used to store milk, food, and drink. But beyond their practical use, they carry deep cultural symbolism. They represent nourishment, care, and continuity. Their presence here in the tombs reflects an important belief that even in death, life, respect, and tradition still continue. So the drums speak and the calabashes sustain, and together they tell a story that goes beyond words. Joel, I like the compound. It looks very traditional, yet kept alive. I don't know how have they done that. How have they maintained it like this? I even see a fire extinguisher. It's a bit modern, but very, very traditional. So how has that happened for all this time?
Okay, so here in our culture, we always bring presents to the king. Yeah, in terms of gifts, people collect items in their communities, like matoke, goat, cow, chicken. So this courtyard is kept like as clear as this, so that people can come and they present. So they are gifts to the king. So the king could sit there and see which county or which sub-county or which village, has contributed a lot of presents to him.
Okay.
Yes. Otherwise, we are in front of the biggest grass-thatched hut, which is Kasubi Tombs. And originally, we said the place was established as a palace.
Yes.
Yeah, in 1882 by King Mutesa I. Then 1884, that's when the king died or disappeared. Hope now the public can understand.
Yeah. Now they'll know. They'll know it's disappeared.
Okay. So now we shall maintain that one.
Yes.
So when the king disappeared in 1884, he was buried or kept within his palace, and the place was transformed into the royal tombs. Yeah. Then 2001, that's when UNESCO gazetted and inscribed this place on the list of the World Heritage Site, because of the living heritage we have been seeing, we have talked about. But unfortunately, in 2010, we had a tragedy. Yes, when the original house caught fire into flames, which literally means that this is a rebuild. Yeah, it is a new structure, and an effort is done by the Kingdom of Buganda in partnership with the Uganda's government, UNESCO, Japanese government, and other people. Maybe also you. Yeah, many contributed for the restoration of this house. So it is a rebuild from 2011 up to now. And right now, 99% of the restoration process is complete. Yeah. One of the few things which are remaining is to trim off the entrance.
Because I thought that was the purpose of it being low, so that you enter well bowing.
Yeah, however much it is low, but of course they have to make it clear. They are going to trim it.
There's an entrance.
Yes, so that it can look like the other one. Or like that part. Yes, so they trim it. Yeah. And actually, during the construction of this house, they don't hire engineers from universities. They don't hire engineers from construction companies, but they are local people from specific clans who have generated skills from their ancestors, being passed on generation to generation, that are in charge of putting up this structure. Yeah. So during the construction of this house, we have majorly two clans. We have the members of the Leopard clan. Yeah, those are the chief decorators.
If you know you're from the leopard clan, you're
Yes.
chief decorator in your blood.
So they are the chief decorators of the King's Palace, and they are led by Segirinya. Yeah, Segirinya is the title given to the team leader or to the leader of the decorators from the leopard clan.
Okay.
Yes. Then we have the members of the white and black Kurubas Monkey.
Yes,
Yes. Those are in charge of doing the thatching.
On top. It's
Yes.
done beautifully.
Yes.
They've done it really well.
And their leader is called Wabula Kayole.
Wabula.
Yeah. The role of Wabula Kayole is to come to supervise the house, to see which parts are demanding more thatch. Then they do the rethatching. Yes. So they work hand in hand until when the king's house is complete.
Okay.
Yeah. And 99% of the materials, as you see, the organic materials, like plant materials, like spear grass, we have triples of Macamia rutea, we have the reeds, we have the barks of the trees, which literally mean that again, they keep on rehabilitating the house.
See how nature is so beautiful. Quite honestly, I can't imagine it anywhere else.
Yeah, that's why everyone's supposed to be very keen when it comes to the environment.
Yes.
Because we, the human beings and the environment, we are almost the same people. When you tamper with the environment, it means you don't have life.
Yes.
Because at one day or one time, you need the environment and also it needs you. And we are the environment, and also you out there.
Yes,
you're part of the environment. Yeah. And actually, when they're building this house, they don't use machines.
Wait, they physically climb with ladders and get up there and do it themselves?
100% of the work is manual.
Wow.
So they do a lot of weaving. That's why the house exhibits a lot of craftsmanship.
You can see it.
Yes.
It's perfection. It's the total perfection.
Yeah, that's why
even the back coat really looked beautiful.
Yeah.
Sometimes you see some back coats and it's beaten badly. But this one is so smooth. It's like a proper curtain.
You know, it is a king's house. It's supposed to be fine. 100%.
It's supposed to be perfect.
It's supposed to be perfect. That's
true. That's very true. I agree.
That's why I actually call it a masterpiece of human creativity and African architecture.
I'm amazed that they don't even use anything, no machinery, nothing.
No machines, no.
So it's fully sustainable. It's
yes.
Even in the craftsmanship, it's
organic materials, manual work, craftsmanship. It is exhibited here. Yes.
But then you have to give it to the clans that are dedicated to this.
Yeah, that's
know what they're doing.
Yeah, that's why there are particular clans which are supposed to do it, and they get inherit the skills. That's why when you find people when they're maybe thatching, you find people of different generations. Some of 70 years, others 40, 30, 20. Yeah. So someone of 70 is teaching someone of 40. Someone of 40 is teaching someone of 30. Someone of 30 is teaching someone of 20. So that's how the skills are passed on generation to generation. Yes. And actually, wherever I find any grass thatched hut, when the thatch touches the ground, that is a king's palace. Yeah. Right. But when you find any grass thatched hut, when the thatch doesn't touch the ground, yeah, that can be a homestead for any ordinary person. But this one in particular is reserved for the kings.
For the kings.
Yes. Okay. And actually here in our culture, wherever a king establishes his palace, he's supposed to give it a name.
Okay.
According to his own interest.
Okay.
So Mutesa our king, named his palace Muzibu Azalampanga.
Muzibu Azalampanga.
Yeah, Muzibu Azalampanga, which literally means that a king begets a king. Yeah, or a king gives birth to a king. Yes. Whereby members of the royal family, regardless of their gender, but both the females and the males, we address them as a he.
You know, I had heard about that. I just didn't understand it. Even if they're female, how are they he?
We address them as a he. For example, in our local language, Uganda, we have a title Sebo.
Sebo, yes.
Yeah, which means sir.
Sir, yes.
And we have a title Nyabo, which means madam. But in the case you're addressing any princess.
Oh, it's only for princesses.
Yeah, any lady from the royal family, because all ladies from the royal family are princesses. Yeah, so you have to address her as Sebo. So it gives a view as if kings give birth only male offsprings.
So even if they're female, they're still within rights to be called or addressed as Sebo.
Sebo. That's why here it is very Very amazing when you happen to marry from the royal family. For example, if you're a man and you marry a princess, when you're greeting her, instead of saying that good morning, madam, you have to say good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, sir.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So that's the meaning of the name Muzibu Azala Pang. Yeah.
King begets a king.
A king begets a king. So again, the palace is surrounded by other houses, actually huts or traditional huts, which are houses being occupied by the king's wives. You know, our king Kabaka Mutesa I happened to marry over 84 official wives.
84.
84. Yeah, he's the king.
Yes,
One of the king's names is called Saba Sajja. Yeah,
that's okay.
He's a man among men.
Yes.
And he's also called the buffet, which means our husband.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, you cannot tie yourself alone on the king.
Okay.
And actually, whenever a lady becomes the king's palace, she automatically becomes the king's wife.
Hey, so automatically now.
Yeah, at the moment, since you're stepping on the king's grounds, you're king's wife. So when the king happens to pick interest in you,
oh, wow.
Even if you come here with your husband is supposed to just surrender you to the king.
I think we need to hurry and leave before my husband looks for me.
It will be like a blessing to his family because you never know once your wife can produce the next king.
But even if I'm from a different tribe,
it doesn't matter.
I keep asking this question because I need to understand.
The king is not for Baganda.
Is for
Buganda. And the Buganda doesn't stop on Buganda. Many people come here, get assimilated into the kingdom. At the end of the day, they become part of Buganda.
Okay.
Yes. So the king happened to marry 84 official wives, and he never did it for fun, but to promote unity among all the clans.
That's why he was having more from different clans.
Yeah, he actually married from each and every clan of the kingdom.
For equality.
Yes.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, they had over 127 children. Yes, from those wives.
Royal children.
Yeah.
Okay.
So all his wives were living here, surrounding his palace. Where you're seeing these huts. But because today it is a long period of time, most of these wives, all the wives died. But since here we are keeping a living heritage, those wives were succeeded by the people from their original lineage, maybe their sisters or daughters of their brothers.
Okay.
Whereby, actually, they are descendants. That's the correct term that we are supposed to use, of the king's wives. Whereby, when the king's wife die, they go back in her family. They choose someone from her original lineage, who can either be her sister or a daughter of her brother, because they want someone from her original bloodline and to continue the heritage flourishing. So, because they are descendants, they don't live here permanently. Yeah, they just come here
to
serve a shift of 1 month. Yeah.
A shift of 1 month?
Yeah, each and every lady is supposed to serve a shift of 1 month.
From each family?
Yeah. Hope you have seen those ladies inside.
Yes, the ladies inside.
So they are supposed to be 4 on the shift.
So every month, another 4 come?
Yeah.
Every month, another 4?
4 comes. 4 for those 4 kings who are bowed. So each and every king for 1 what?
For
1 wife.
Okay,
yeah.
That's true.
So they come for 1 month. They serve their shift. When the month ends, they go back. They do their own things. Then the others come on the shift.
Like on rotation.
Yes. But actually, when they happen to grow old, they tend to come and spend the rest of their lives here.
So they live here?
Yes. So some of them, they permanently live here. And when they die, they also get buried here. So
they are royal wives.
Yes. So that's also a big factor which influenced UNESCO to add this place on the list of the World Heritage Site, because of the heritage which is kept flourishing generation after generation. It literally means that even if you come here after 1,000 years,
you will still find
the king's wives.
Because if it's passed on family by family, surely.
Yeah.
How can it not be maintained like this?
And actually, traditionally, the king's palace here in our culture, they're supposed to be surrounded by a royal enclosure, which is made of those reeds. Hope you're seeing those reeds.
Oh yes, like at the
Kabaka's palace, yeah. Yes. But what makes a difference, when the king is still alive, those reeds are supposed to be having different sizes, like irregular sizes. Yes. But since here the king's already died, that's why the reeds are chopped to the same level with regular size, same size, which literally means that the kings already disappeared. Okay, so here we are at the royal fireplace. It's locally known as a Choto Gombolola. And the person who's in charge, a Choto Gombolola. And the person who's in charge of it is called Musoloza from the Kudan Blue clan. Yeah, it's called the Nyonyi Nachensige. Yeah, you know, here in our culture, in each and every palace, you have to find their fireplace. And it's always kept burning throughout, which symbolizes that the king is still alive.
He's alive.
So it burns from morning to morning, from January to January, from Monday to Monday.
Monday to Monday.
Yes. So when you find the fireplace when it is not burning, a lot of question comes in your mind. Is the king okay? So it's supposed to be kept burning throughout, which symbolizes that the king is still alive. So whatever, when you see the smoke, when you see the fires burning, we just say that we are at rest, we are happy, everything is good.
Also, that's how people find out in the past if a king had disappeared.
Not even in past, even up to date.
Okay, yes, I understand, but of course, history.
The piece itself.
History. So that's what would happen.
Yes. So when the moment you find a fireplace when it's not burning, you just get to know that there's something which is not good. Okay. Yeah. But when it is burning, it symbolizes that the king is still alive. Yeah.
Pray for that. Long live.
Yeah.
So what I've seen and what I'm amazed by Kasubi Tombs is mainly because it's not just in the past. It's also very much in the present. The way they pass down the heritage, it keeps this place very alive. The culture is so much alive. Even if you just walk in, you just know that you're walking into something that is in the past, but also in the present. So you're going to learn much more. I see even a group of school children, they're ready to enter the Kasubi Tombs. So Buganda Kingdom is doing well, is really doing well in sustaining the culture and the traditions of the Buganda Kingdom. So it's quite amazing, quite honestly. If you're here, that's when you'll know and you'll see it for yourself. So we thank you, Joel. The Natkunda team and the Natkunda viewers, we thank you so much, and I hope you'll have more stories for us. You can call us and tell us if there's more stories. We shall come back. We can assure you, because the people want to know and learn about the Buganda culture as much as possible.
Okay, also thank you for coming. Yeah, thank you for sparing some time. And you visit the biggest grass-thatched hut in the whole world. Yes. I want to repeat it many times.
They need to know
so that it sticks in people's mind. Biggest grass-thatched hut in the whole world. Yeah. Otherwise, we are almost finishing up our tour here. So I thank you for visiting the Kasubi Tombs, the kingdom, Buganda, and also the country at large. Yeah. For the viewers there, please take endeavor to spare some time. You come here and you immerse yourself into the living heritage which is exhibited by this press. Otherwise, I have been Joel Seka Mwabaliga Yankona, your tour guide. Thank you.
And if you're here in Uganda locally, you can look for him. We'll put again his information in the description. And if you're out of this country, please come and visit. Learn about the cultures in Uganda. We have a lot to offer. Thank you, Joel.
Thank you, too. Okay.
This experience is not just history. It's not something locked in the past or written in books. The Kasubi Tombs are not just about kings. They're also about culture that refuses to fade, traditions that refuse to be forgotten, and a story that continues no matter how much time passes. And this is the Uganda most people never get to see. So from the beliefs to the traditions to everything that is here, it helps to keep the identity of the Buganda Kingdom and the Buganda people at large. If you enjoyed this video, please share, like, subscribe, and comment as much as possible. I always say just comment and tell us what you want to see. And also, I would like to thank Robote African Tours for always sponsoring our videos and showing us so much love. I can't take it for granted. And also, see you in the next video. Until then, bye.